think we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sandrine, and I will be the program coordinator for today. I'm really grateful for each one of you to be here today. Whether you are new to this community or have been part of it for years, you are welcome. Regardless of your race, your gender, your personal belief, or your socioeconomic background, you are valued here. Whoever you are and whomever you love, you belong here. Before we start the service, we'd like to share a few announcements. One of them is today at 1 p.m., there is an interfaith vigil at the skate park at Drake Spring on 10th and Cliff Avenue. The word has been spread very carefully to avoid counter-protesters. So if you want to attend and bring your peaceful presence, that would be a wonderful act of support with what's going on right now. Allan, do you have another?
Thank you, Sandrine. And just to reiterate the location, that is at Drake Springs, 10th and Cliff, the skate park, the Interfaith Vigil today at 1 o'clock. And a special word of welcome to everybody who's joining us online through the live stream or perhaps watching a recording later. That technology is especially useful on days like this when not as many of us wanted to come out in the cold. So thanks to everybody who's here in the church and also taking it in technologically, and a big thanks to Dan for running the equipment today, assisted by Scott. I want to highlight the announcements on the smaller sheet which you were given. Part of this is still relevant. Most of it is, actually. And so I encourage you to read everything on this sheet. The exception would be for next Sunday. Next Sunday will be our mid-year meeting, and so the topic is different from what is printed here. And the mid-year meeting will be at 11 o'clock next Sunday morning, February 1st. And then want to point out just below that, Parents' Night Out on Valentine's Day. We need volunteers to help with that event, and so we'd ask you to contact Bailey Abbott if you're interested or need information about that. And then I also want to highlight, backtracking a little bit, Saturday night, Elena Luke has performed here before with her group called Grandma's Theater, and they've always done a great job. They're always happy to perform in our space and to have us as supporters and audience. So that's Saturday night at 7 o'clock. It's going to be short plays. I think it really means probably short scenes from Tennessee Williams, and you can see that powerful quote. And then one that's not printed is that on Friday night, the 30th, is Faith Night at the Augie hockey game. Last year, a group went to that and had a great time, I understand. And the tickets are half price. They're only $15, so you can order tickets online for the Augustana University hockey game Friday night. It's called Faith Night, and so they give discounts to those of us who find out about it through our church. Does anybody else have any announcements today? Okay, well, again, welcome everybody.
you, Allan. So let the worship service begin by lighting the chalice. For that, I invite you to take your hymnal book, page 440. I will read the regular text, and you will respond by reading the words in italics. From the fragmented world. From the fragmented world of our everyday lives, we gather together in search of wholeness.
By many cares and preoccupations, by diverse and selfish aims, are we separated from one another and divided within ourselves.
Yet, we know that no branch is utterly severed from the tree of life that sustains us all.
We cherish our oneness with those around us and the countless generations that have gone before us.
We would hold fast to all of good we inherit, even as we would leave behind us the outworn and the false.
We would escape from bondage to the ideas of our own day and from the delusions of our own fancy.
Let us labor in hope for the dawning of a new day without hatred, violence, and injustice.
Let us nurture the growth in our own lives of the love that has shone in the lives of the greatest of men and women, the rays of whose lamp still illumine our way.
In the Spirit we gather. In this Spirit we pray. Words by Philip Hewitt. Our opening song today is page 361. Enter and rejoice and come in, and we will sing the verses 1 to 4. Yeah. Now it is time for our first reading, page 604. And like we did for the first text, I will read the regular text, and you will respond by reading the word in italicized. A vessel so sacred, those who would take over the earth and shape it to their will never, I notice, succeed.
The earth is like a vessel so sacred that at the mere approach of the profane, it is wild.
And when they reach out their fingers, it is gone.
For a time in the world, some push themselves ahead, and some are left behind.
For a time in the world, some make a great noise, and some are held silent.
For a time
For a time in the world, some push aboard and some are tipped out.
At no time in the world will one who is sane overreach, overspend, overrate.
Words from Lao Tse. So I have a story for all ages. If younger or children or people younger at heart wants to join closer here. Let's see. Hi. It's just you two. Yes. What are your names? Aurora and Addie? Or Laura. Beautiful. That's pretty special. Beautiful. So I have a book for you today that maybe you already know this one. It's called The Peace Book. Have you heard about it? Are you familiar with this book? Yep. Peace is making new friends. Yeah. Peace is keeping the water blue for all the fish. Peace is listening to a different kinds of music. Peace is saying you are sorry when you hurt someone. Yes. Peace is helping your neighbor. Peace is reading all different kinds of books. Peace is thinking about someone you love. Peace is giving shoes to someone who needs them. Need a lot. So many shoes, yes. Peace is planting a tree. Peace is sharing a meal. Peace is wearing different clothes. Peace is watching it snow. I think it's his mouth, the smile, yeah. Peace is keeping the streets clean. Peace is offering a hug to a friend. Peace is everyone having a home. A mobile home. Peace is growing a garden, or peace is taking a nap. Peace is learning another language. Peace is having enough pizza in the world for everyone. Peace is keeping someone warm. Mm-hmm. Peace is new babies being born. Peace is being free. Do you think it is? Peace is traveling to different places. Peace is wishing on a star. Peace is being who you are. Do you think you can bring peace to this world? Can you do those things? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming up here. Yes, absolutely. You're welcome to grab the book and you can keep it for the service. So now I would like to invite you to one of my favorite traditions in this congregation. We have found very valuable to share the ups and downs of our lives by coming up here, taking a stone from the bowl, holding it in your hand, and sharing your joy and or concerns that you have with the congregation. And then you can place the stone in a bowl of water so the ripples of the water carry out the joys and concerns in the wider world. So I invite you to join me here and share if you feel like it. They can if they want to. You have something to share? I did. I'm sorry.
Thank you. You're welcome. My name is Ann Clunsey. I live in an assisted living. And there's a lady there, a very beautiful lady, who's exactly the same age as I am, except for a five-month difference. And she had a stroke the other day and has been in the hospital for 2 or 3 days. She's getting out today, coming home. And then we had one of our people, an older man, and he had cancer on his head and cancer on his shoulder, and he passed away. And so we have our ups and downs in this place. We have about 50 people living there, and it's a very, very nice assisted living place. And it's over on 5th Street, 3409. Come and visit us sometimes. We would enjoy that.
Would you like me to place a stone?
Yes, I would like to place a stone
Yes.
there for joys and sorrows, both.
Yes.
We have one lady that is over 100 years old, and so this is for that joy that she's still with us. And then we've had 2 deaths lately, but we had a stroke that recovered, so that's both a joy and a sorrow.
Hi, I'm Scott. Just wanted to celebrate some little landmarks in life. First of all, my good friend Amy just had her birthday last Friday, and I'll have mine tomorrow.
My name is Allan, and first, big stone of joy for Janine, my wife, who came home from the hospital after 6 days on Thursday night. And thank you. We're very thankful for all your positive thoughts and prayers for her. She's getting over this serious breathing problem, lung infection or whatever. And thanks to the nebulizers and the medicine and whatever, it's going well. So very thankful for that. And then a stone of concern for my cousin's husband, Paul, out in the Denver area. Just a year older than I am. He had a birthday the other day, and he has glioblastoma. And so his whole family came home to celebrate probably his final birthday. I think that's all today.
want to celebrate a joy that I had, and it was a really nice birthday that I had last Thursday. We had dinner out, and I had Jennifer with me, so it was great. And so it was overall a really good day. And I have a stone to sorrow and hope too for everybody at my assisted living place that we're at. And I have hope and joy that everybody does well there. So thank you.
Hi, my name's Dan Reiki, and as some of you know, J.C. Brummel and I go and do violin duet performances in nursing homes, senior care facilities every weekend. This last weekend, we were in Laverne, Minnesota, and although it was very cold outside, to go to a care facility and people are in their chairs and under various stages of care, and to see them there and to be able to bring some smiles and to have some people nodding and smiling and going along with us as we were playing our fiddle music was really special. We go to memory care facilities too, where you don't really know where the people are in terms of their ability to follow, and yet they're there, and the music, the joy of the energy of that music brings smiles, and that brings smiles to our hearts too. This next weekend we'll be at the Legends on Lake Lorraine. Very different kind of environment for those of you who have been to the Legends. But we perform for those who live in very expensive nursing facilities and those who are in the very most basic care facilities. So it's a joy to be around our community and to be with JC, and it brings a lot of joy to us to see people smiling and tapping their feet, and occasionally a little grandchild to get up and dance and in the crowd, and that also brings joy to everybody. So that's a big plus in my life, and I'm thankful for my partner JC and all the people who respond and give us care even as we try to bring care to them too.
My name's Eric, and this is just a concern and a plea for sanity to return to our nation and to the state of Minnesota.
Hi, my name is Susan, and my joy for today is that I was able to bring a friend with me to try out our church and just kind of see what we're about. So I'm happy to have him here and hope to have him again.
I just want to express joy. I went to the symphony last night. Was given tickets by someone, and I would encourage you to support the symphony. This Dr. or Delta David Geyer has supported bringing the orchestra and teachers out into areas like Sisseton and all over South Dakota. And there was a boy from Sisseton who wrote a composition that they did, and another young lady who had also lived in Sisseton and other areas. And then my concern is for this nation. And as I look at this, I think this is one of the best pieces that we have, this piece that of the Sioux Nation in what current map of South Dakota, and anywhere I think about the Native American people and how we massacred, executed, and murdered these people. And luckily, there are some that have survived. And what is going on in Minnesota? There is no difference with what happened to that man. And so, grave, grave concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm going to place a final stone in the bowl for all the joys and concerns that we are keeping for ourselves. And let's just take a moment to reflect on both what has been shared and what remained unspoken. Thank you. Our second song for today is page 159. This is my song. Thank you, Allan. And our second reading will be read by Allan.
I'm thankful to Kevin Kolb for sending me this reading, which is very pertinent. There was a meeting, it says, included many people of faith, and a pastor started the meeting not with a prayer, but with this powerful statement from Matt Moberg, the chaplain of the Minnesota Timberwolves. If you're a church posting prayers for peace and unity today while my city bleeds in the street, Miss me with that softness you only wear when it costs you nothing. Don't dress avoidance up as holiness. Don't call silence peacemaking. Don't light a candle and think it substitutes for showing up. Today an ICE agent took a photo of me next to my car, looked me in the eye and told me, "We'll be seeing you soon." Not metaphor, not hyperbole, a threat dressed up in a badge and a paycheck. Peace isn't what you ask for when the boot is already on someone's neck. Peace is what the powerful ask for when they don't want to be interrupted. Unity isn't neutral. Unity that refuses to name violence is just loyalty to the ones holding the weapons. I'll read that again. Unity that refuses to name violence is just loyalty to the ones holding the weapons. Stop using scripture like chloroform. Stop calling your fear wisdom. Stop pretending Jesus was crucified because he preached good vibes and personal growth. You don't get to quote scripture like a lullaby while injustice stays wide awake. You don't get to ask God to heal the land if you won't even look at the wound. There is a kind of peace that only exists because it refuses to tell the truth. That peace is a lie, and lies don't grow anything worth saving. The scriptures you love weren't written to keep things calm. They were written to set things right. And sometimes the most faithful thing you can do is stop praying around the pain and start standing inside the pain. If that makes you uncomfortable, good. Growth is always uncomfortable.
Thank you, Allan. Very powerful. Well, now it's time to hear what Allan has to say about the title of the talk today is what were they thinking and what are our blind spots? And he goes along the principle 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and principle 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in a society at large.
Thank you, Sandrine. Over the course of history, we could mention a lot of examples of things that people did that cause us to ask, what were they thinking? How could this be? It's already been mentioned, the atrocities committed against the Native Americans, the senseless suffering of war, religious wars, quote unquote, crusades to wrest the Holy Land away from the so-called Muslim infidels, even a children's crusade back in the day. There are also trivial examples, and so I'm going to shift for a minute and just mention one of the trivial examples that came to my mind as I was thinking about this topic is how a couple generations ago, I'm not sure exactly when, I didn't do the research, but I think you've all maybe heard this, that there was a time when left-handed children were encouraged to be right-handed. And I think that's maybe 15% of the population. And now we can't imagine doing that to a child. But at one time, I guess they wanted everybody to conform. And I have a personal example of what this could have meant. It's those step-granddaughters that play basketball that we've been talking about, that I've been talking about, and they won again yesterday. And the younger one, Jordan, the sophomore, is a lefty. And I just wonder if she had been forced to be right-handed as a child, she wouldn't be the basketball player that she is today. What were they thinking back in those days? the American policy of cultural genocide and literal genocide toward the Native Americans. And I didn't know about the Canton, South Dakota Asylum for Insane Indians growing up only 30 miles from there. My dad grew up in Lincoln County, and he never mentioned it. And it wasn't until I came back to Sioux Falls 10 years ago that I learned about that part of history. I guess we like to forget about those things when we're teaching our kids in school. And then, of course, the Holocaust, the tremendous waste of resources on the arms race and the Cold War, and the list could go on. And then there was the eugenics movement and social Darwinism, endorsed by Harvard faculty, the Rockefeller and Carnegie families, and even President Woodrow Wilson. What were they thinking, trying to breed human beings like animals and try to improve the race in that way? So all of this prompts the question in my mind, what are our blind spots? What is our generation doing that will cause future generations to wonder, how could this be? What were they thinking? So I've created a list of the top 10 mistakes that I think we're making. And as I go through these, you may have others come to your mind, and I'd love to hear yours in a circle discussion afterwards. So here we go. Number 10. Parenting, over-programming the lives of our children, pushing them to excel, following their sports and other activities as if their own success and satisfaction in life depends, or their success creates the success for the parents and grandparents. Research has found that children just need unstructured play in their lives, and so many don't get it. So many aren't allowed to go out and play outside because there's afraid of abduction in so many places. And so kids stay inside and they're left to their own devices, literally, devices. Number 9, the emptiness of materialism. The wealthiest countries are no longer the happiest in the world. Depression and anxiety are growing in the richer countries. Number 8, xenophobia, fear of the other. Refusal to welcome immigrants for not only humanitarian reasons, but for the contributions that they make to our labor force, the arts, sports, and cultural enrichment, and the list goes on and on. We've always prided ourselves in being a nation of immigrants until just recently when xenophobia has taken over. And of course, a lot of these are interrelated. The decline of civility, from road rage to online bullying to abuse of healthcare providers. You go into hospitals and now there's posters reminding people that the staff is to be treated with respect, and if that doesn't happen, they can call security. Never used to be that way. Even airlines are starting to have dress codes because people don't dress properly for flying. Number 6, pleasure seeking to excess. And here I've got a little more elaboration. This is from a Hidden Brain broadcast with Shankar Vedantan a couple weeks ago when he interviewed researcher Anna Lemke from Stanford, I believe, who wrote The Paradox of Pleasure. She describes addiction to dopamine, the pleasure hormone. In wealthy societies, the rates of depression and suicide are growing the fastest. We have access to so many forms of pleasure, from our favorite sports teams to our favorite music and our favorite websites, and the list goes on. And the technology allows us to binge on all of these, whether it's on a snowy weekend or whatever. We can basically overdose on our pleasurable experiences, creating and sustaining the dopamine rush. But our bodies, which have evolved over centuries, millennia, are geared for balance and equilibrium. And so to compensate for this sustained dopamine rush, our brains are flooded with other chemicals, what we call sad or painful feelings, to bring us back down from that rush. And so that is the paradox. The more happiness, the more dopamine that our system has produced, the more our system works to bring us back down. And so someday, another wiser generation may look back on our excessive pleasure seeking and our surprise at the depressive consequences and ask, what were they thinking? Number 5, the rise of the political extreme right, and it's not only in this country, but other countries around the world, even countries with a large so-called Christian population. When the political ideology takes precedent over biblical and other traditional values, we need to ask ourselves, what were they thinking? And even, I can think of one church in Sioux Falls, and there's probably many others, that seem to have more influence from their politics than their faith. Number 4, the decline of democracy and the popularity of authoritarian leaders. The daily news includes one example after another of flagrant violations of the Constitution, legal precedents, separation of powers, the rights of citizens, separation of church and state. All of this, then you have to add the attempts to disenfranchise large groups of people, gerrymandering the maps to keep power in the hands of one party. Number 3, the decline of respect for science, leading to the denial of the reality of climate change. The abandonment of policies and practices in medicine that were based on science and replacing them with an ideology, canceling funds for research at our universities, which were identifying life-saving and life-enriching practices. And then seeing diversity, equity, and inclusion as a woke idea instead of a means to create more equality and fairness and justice, which is also one of our principles. Number 2, tolerance for the misuse of technology by children, especially in our schools. And here I'll elaborate based on some of my own personal experience. Children of all ages are not only exposed to excessive violence and other inappropriate content, which Mr. Rogers warned against way back when, the technology allows them to use social media and other websites which are designed by brilliant neuroscientists to keep the eyeballs glued to the screen. And they succeed in spades. Children whose brains are not fully developed can't be expected to have the self-control necessary to limit their use of this technology. It's hard enough for us adults to limit our use of the technology, right? We all know that by experience. You've heard me say some of this before, and I see it more and more in the school where I work now with developmentally disabled students who are in middle school, and they come in the classroom and the first word they say is, tablet? Addiction to technology is real, and someday a wiser generation will look back at us and see how a whole generation has been damaged intellectually, emotionally, physically, and relationally, with rising rates of suicide and depression among even young children, corresponding clearly with the rise of the cell phone, and ask, what were they thinking back in the 2020s? What people need is relationships and connections, and not isolation and technology. And number 1, the unregulated development of artificial intelligence. Regulations were starting to be put in place in this country prior to 2025, but this was soon stopped as the super rich saw the opportunity to accumulate more wealth. And so the attempt to regulate artificial intelligence stopped cold. The risk of this lack of sensible regulation is articulated most convincingly by Geoffrey Hinton, winner of the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics. Hinton is considered the godfather of artificial intelligence, and now he has several YouTube videos that warn against the danger of unregulated AI. They describe the possibility of killer robots or autonomous weapon systems capable of murder on a massive scale. Hinton predicts that as early as 2027, that's next year, AI could bring about economic disruption, including a surge in unemployment, along with a surge in profits for the super rich. Not to mention the geopolitical rivalries between the nations, rivalries between the haves and the have-nots, the democracies and the autocracies, and the ever increasingly powerful oligarchies. And Hinton suggests that there's a 25% chance of something very serious going wrong. On a lighter note, I found a cartoon, which I don't have with me, but try to remember how it goes. There's several panels showing various technological breakthroughs, starting with guns. And these are not in chronological order, but alcohol, computers. I'm sorry, I should have brought the cartoon and it got lost in my shuffle. But there's all of these different things that we have invented over the years. And then the last one is, what makes us think that we'll make good use of artificial intelligence because of all the ways that we've corrupted various other technologies over the years. So, not exactly an uplifting message on a cold morning, but I keep coming back to the wisdom of the mother of Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers, the children's TV guy, who told him as a child, when bad things happen and you're sad and you're worried, look for the helpers. Look for the people that are helping out, whether it's an earthquake or a fire or a flood or a hurricane or whatever it is. Look for the helpers, and that's what can give you hope. And so today as well, in the midst of our chaotic and disrupted and painful time in history, look for the helpers. Look for the people who are trying to do some good in spite of all the darkness that is around us. And again, I welcome your challenges and your thoughts and your list of the top things that make people ask, what were they thinking back in the 2020s? May we find something better and some kind of light through the darkness. May it be so.
Thank you very much, Allan. Now it is time when we ask for your help to do the work of our congregation through an offering. I'm gonna paste the plate. Thank you for giving to all souls. Please join me in saying those words to receive the offering. We give this gift freely. We receive this gift gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for a planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. To close this service, I will now extinguish the chalice. And before I do that, I invite you to go downstairs for coffee and treats for until 11:15. Would that work? And then I invite you to come back here for discussion and hear what is in your heart. Thank you. The chalice is extinguished, but the light goes with us out into the world. Thank you, Allan.